Andrew Tate just got banned off the internet, right?
Right.
Like, not banned off Instagram, not banned off TikTok, not banned off YouTube.
Not suspended accounts.
Like this guy got banned off the internet, right? And to me, the wildest thing about it is these are all separate companies, right? Like, it kind of makes sense to me. Like, all right, if you got banned from Instagram, like, that's whatever. Then you still have TikTok and all this other shit, right? Like, so to me, it's like this guy, for whatever reason, right, was such a problem that all these major players got together and made one decision, like together, group, like a group, right? And these companies like compete against each other, right? They're not really friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they all got together. It's like, yo, we got to get rid of Andrew Tate. To me, it's like, all right, what is this guy doing that is so bad that like every platform got together to get rid of him, right? And one of the main things he promotes is masculinity, right? Which is like your point. Like, are they really trying to like, are they having an attack on masculinity? And when somebody like Andrew Tate, who that's kind of what he promotes. I mean, he does have other like negatives to him, right? We could talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Gets permanently banned like that kind of proves your point, right? Because it's like, yo, what was he really doing like to deserve this?
To deserve that. I feel like we live in a world where we want to coddle people's opinions and coddle people's feelings. And from my understanding, you know, he was an extreme Kevin Samuels to a sense. Like, you know, like he had the same destination, but his road was like fucking, he was traveling at 100 miles an hour. Like he was not sugarcoating shit at all, you know.
Yo, it's kind of funny. It's like, yo, they thought Kevin was bad. Like, y'all thought Kevin was insane. like his replacement was 3 times worse, yo. Yo, which makes me think like, yo, it's just you know, escalating. So like, yo, it started with the Fresh and Fit podcast. It started with Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate. Like, the fucking next guy is gonna be a caveman, like a straight up caveman, bro. Like, he's just gonna grunt.
But this is what we're seeing, where like, you know, men are actually coming out and speaking out against kind of like I said, this agenda to like, you know, feminize men, and where we actually seeing where these big companies are just like trying to mute this person. You know, it's almost like promoting masculinity is being deemed as misogyny, and it's like, just because I promote masculinity, that doesn't mean I hate women. Just because I want men to be men doesn't mean I hate women. That's the equivalent of saying that, you know, just because you promote feminism, that means that you hate men. This is like, it doesn't really make sense. It's almost like we get upset whenever we talk about the whole Black Lives Matter thing. It's like, just because we say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that the rest of y'all don't matter. It's just like, currently right now, ours need attention, so we want our lives to matter, you know?
That's a good point.
And it's like, people get upset about it, and obviously his approach is for entertainment purposes and to, you know, get the appeal of people, so he comes out really aggressive. And a lot of times, purposely. And a lot of times, you know, obviously, if you fall into that category of woman, it can seem as if he's like bashing you, but it does necessarily him speaking about a certain class of woman or his dislike in a specific woman makes it that he hates women or he hates you. I don't really think so. It's just, you're not his cup of tea, you know? Like,
so to get a little more into him, right, specifically. So one thing I think we as a society need to stop doing is, yo, we need to stop judging people off 10-second clips. You feel me? And I've been guilty of it, right? Like, you just watch a couple clips of somebody on TikTok or Instagram, and you summarize them, right? Like, all right, they're either like this great person or they're this evil person, right? And just like with Kevin Samuels, like, I did the same thing with Andrew Tate, right? I seen a couple clips, and they weren't really for me, so I didn't pay him no mind, right? But I never really went out and like watched full episodes, did my full research on him, right? And I think that's what most people do. Like, they watch a couple of Andrew Tate clips, and I feel like if they're not for you, then this guy's just like the biggest dickhead. Yo, because like, clips are clickbait. Yeah. They're meant to get you riled up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they cut the episode in like the craziest way to get the biggest reaction out of you, right? But when you go and actually watch the full episode, it's a very different like it's a lot different than you think, right?
Yeah, it's like almost like tone, you know, like
Yeah.
text messages. Like you could text something to somebody and 10 different people, and they're all gonna perceive it a different way.
Exactly.
Whereas, like, you know, if you have some backstory behind it, you know, you kind of could be able to see,
All right.
okay, well, he didn't mean it like that.
So you weren't like a big Andrew Tate fan, right?
Nah, not really.
So me neither, right? So prior to him getting banned, I actually never watched any of his real content. Like I said, I watched a couple clips, thought they're entertaining,
Yeah.
but never really paid it no mind. 'Cause I just feel like it's not really like that applicable to me. Because it's like, yo, but maybe I feel like that, right? Because I'm already like the type of guy that he's kind of talking about. Right?
Okay.
So I went and actually watched a couple hours of his actual content, right? And it's a little different than I thought it was gonna be, but it was kind of on par with the clips I saw, right? Like, so I watched the episode that you sent me with him, like on the date with the girl,
Yeah.
and I watched his final message.
Mm-hmm.
And what I basically got out of his content, from what I saw, is he's actually not as bad of a guy that social media kind of makes him out to be.
Right.
He's not that great of a guy either. I think he's definitely interesting. I think there's a reason he's the most Googled man on earth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that didn't happen by accident. I think he's very strategic. I think he's very well spoken. And I think like when you're actually like a strong, dominant guy like that, you're bound to captivate like younger men who kind of like need guidance.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, for kind of guys our age, I think we've got it a little more figured out, and that's why like we don't really like seek out content like that.
Right.
Like, it's entertaining for us to watch, like, while we're scrolling. But I feel like, the 21-year-old version of me might have really related to Andrew Tate.
Especially, and not only, I don't even think it's a year thing. I think it's an experience also. You know, you can have like people that are older, younger, same age as us, that just don't have the same experiences that we have, and it's like kind of looking for some advice, kind of looking for some guidance, want to be more masculine in a sense, and gravitate to his content a little bit more than we would. For me, when I watched it, like, it's almost like I want to be right there with you. Like, I want to be right there with you, upset and mad. Like, who the fuck is this guy to be like talking like this about like women and his views on certain things? But then, like, at the core of some of the things he's saying, it's like there's some validity to it, Like,
he's speaking facts.
Yeah, like there's some validity to it. Don't get me wrong. Like, some of his ideologies is really fucking aggressive. It's almost like,
it's aggressive, but is it wrong?
No, it's definitely not wrong. Like,
so it's funny, right? Like I said, there's just two groups of women right now. There's like the ones that are very pro women, very progressive, go getters. They're obviously not gonna relate to Andrew Tate, right?
No.
Because like that's not the type of woman he wants.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's these other women, right, that are more traditional. They kind of want a stronger man. They kind of want a man to take lead, right? And these women, like, when they describe their ideal man, they're really describing the type of man that Andrew Tate is trying to like get these men to become, right? So it's just like he does have like like he is speaking to a certain like demographic of women like that, like, are gonna like what he's saying, right? Like, there are women that want men like him.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like stupid for like people to get upset when he like speaks. Like, here's one thing, right? And I think of this about anybody on the internet, right? Even if someone says the most offensive thing, right, you should be fucking happy they said it, because now
Yeah,
how
you know who they are.
You know who they are. You know how they think, right? It's not a surprise, because it's like, like you're not pro-abortion, right?
Right.
So it's like, as a woman, right, I think that's something a woman should know before she gets with you, right? Like, I don't think a woman should fall in love with you and then find this out about you, right? I think this is like the best. I think this is like the best version of things, because like, this is the most
transparency.
Like, because all right, here's how I think, right? I think women shouldn't, like, if not me personally, right, but like how he thinks, right? Like, he thinks women shouldn't work. He thinks women should just be at the house and cook and make babies and all that shit, right? If you're not that type of woman,
then you're not for
that's
him.
perfect, right? Like, because now it's like, because you might find him attractive and like start fuck with them, and then you find this shit out. It's like, oh shit, like I didn't know this is who you were at your core.